Hey y'all, I wanted to make this video because this is based on a live from Brandon of Palm Beach, based on some things we talked about on my 45th birthday. And they'll understand what I'm talking about if you attended that live. He's still getting comfortable with YouTube as I am because I didn't like being on the camera 2023 and back. Me showing myself is a new concept. For those of you guys or girls who don't know or understand, if you don't show yourself now, someone else can pretend to be you. So you need to look out for that and be very careful for that fact. Now I'm going to give some shout outs, three at least. First, here's Nikki P. Now her subs may have grown more by the time you see this. This is Empress Nikki. Y'all needs to recognize, gone over. She's a Jill of all trades outside of Chicago. You're going to get some good recipes. You're going to get some good visits because Chicago in itself is its own macrocosm of a culture, of food, of history, of events. And Chicago is surrounded by so many other different cities. You got your Great Lakes. You got Madison, Wisconsin, which I don't think is too far from there. Nikki P can correct me if I'm wrong. There's a whole culture surrounding just Chicago. I went to boot camp there at Great Lakes. That's where the official Navy boot camp is located. Their museums are top notch. I would love to get back out there one day and just spend a week just visiting museums. All right, so if you want Chicago culture and you want to know what you didn't know previously, Nikki P has you covered. My next one is the person we talked about his lives, Brandon of Palm Beach. Brandon cooks for a country club out in Palm Beach and Florida, and very multifaceted cooking. He knows different types of cheeses, how to prepare different types of dishes. I didn't know he did pimento cheese, grilled cheese sandwiches. He brought that up on his live lately, and I love pimento cheese. I need to learn how to make my own because you can't just find that in Washington State. Pimento cheese is more of a southern thing, but I'm telling you, I used to love that as a kid. Very multifaceted cooking, things he don't know about like lumpia and stuff, he's willing to learn. So go do some collabs with Brandon. He's still learning the ins and outs about YouTube as I am. We're growing together, so please sub to him. Last and certainly not least is the Solomon Project. Remember, he's not giving financial advice. However, he can help point you in the right direction. Again, he's not a financial advisor, okay? It's just he cares about markets and things like that. So if you want to know about stocks and bonds and want somebody who has an open ear and willing to listen to some ideals, go to the Solomon Project. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I mentioned Brandon of Palm Beach, right? I told y'all to go sub to his channel. I hope you don't get upset with me using him as an example. Because right when I was on that live on my birthday, of course, I had to exit out early because I got some extreme stomach problems and got real sick the last few hours of my birthday. So I had to cut out of that live, said be right back, and didn't quite go back. So I apologize to Brandon for that. The light bulb has been my symbol. I love this photo and I've decided to keep it from VetTeasy because I pay for the license and a couple weeks I gotta renew it. 2025 and beyond has to be the year that the light bulb is on and you have to be home. What I mean is you need to be self-aware of everything around you, not because you're paranoid, but because it's going to make you a better person. Here's what I mean about that. I'm going to talk in innuendo and circle because there was some very direct things said on that live. If it gets back to those certain people, I don't care. Do you all know the difference between when a person hears you versus listening? I'm going to break that down for you right quick. Have you ever had to convey something to someone, whether you don't understand something that you've been asked to do, whether you have to give an order, and you, to the best of your ability, based on how that person takes things, you convey that something's either going to go a certain way or has to go a certain way, or based on your surroundings, things have to be a certain way because those surroundings call for that. Again, I told you I'm talking in innuendo, and this will make sense if you were on that live. So you heard what I told you. Sometimes a person can be sitting there listening to you and not looking at you, and you can take it as that person didn't hear you. Or they can look at you, shake their head wildly like, hurry up, stop talking. Or they can sit and fully pretend to hear what you're saying. See, hearing is when you give the instruction. Listening is when you have tangibly applied it. Y'all have heard that phrase. The person who can hear but does not listen. The reason the not listen bothers us is because we know that person wasn't going to apply what we said, or they let it go in one ear out the other. Know that it's okay for people to dismiss you like that and to be evasive like that. And the reason that that's okay is because they're showing you who they really are. They're showing you either I didn't understand you, or most of the time, and that's what this video is going to be about, I disregard what you say because it doesn't fit my narrative. That's what we're going to focus on. In that live, I was basically trying to let them know of a situation I was in outside of my home that people basically hear but do not listen. And their lack of listening has caused them to do things that are not in aligning with my future goals. So I'm going to be spending this year building skills and trying to get myself away from that group of people, because I see no reason to beg or try to get you to understand something that you've decided you refuse to understand. Let me put this in context since you're listening and you may be confused. So I'm going to make up an example instead of using the example on that live. You're friends with someone, right? You have to have a conversation. Remember, hearing, it's between the two of you. And you are conveying in the hearing phase. You're stepping this boundary to me. You're calling me too much. You come to my house too much. And while we're our friends and I appreciate it, can you lower your visits and lower your phone calls? Because I want to spend time with my family. Let's get to the listening portion of that example. If that person truly listened to anything you said, they have reduced the phone calls, they have reduced being invasive and intrusive, and they have reduced being difficult. Because when you do that to people and cling to them, you're difficult. After the hearing portion, if they didn't tangibly listen, remember, because the listening is the tangible, meaning that that person decided they're going to up the phone calls, they're not going to lay off, and they still show up uninvited. That's when it's time for you to go to the final phase, which is to just ask them to kindly exit your life. In the situation that I mentioned on Brandon's live, in which the Solomon Project agreed with me, there's something I didn't tell everyone. The night before my birthday, when I knew I wasn't going back to that situation for a couple of days, I normally don't do this in my off time, but I had an anxiety attack thinking about having to go back and deal with that situation. And being that I'm now 45 years old, I don't have the tolerance or patience. It was shocking to me because normally I can disconnect from that. but that anxiety attack revealed that I cannot disconnect anymore. On my birthday, I seemed happy and fine, and I was. Let me not say seemed, that's a lie. I genuinely was in a good mood, because when I woke up that morning, that day now became the defining moment of what I'm going to do. So 2025 to me is the year that I prep and get out of that, because that's what I've always done when people have gotten on my nerves. If I convey something and you do the complete 180 of what I've asked you to do, you can be gone out of my life. It's just that simple. Now, if I can't get away right away in any situation that you cannot get away from something and it is not inherently dangerous, take baby steps every day to make yourself better. You cannot make people hear and listen to you. In the situation I was in, I tried to address an issue. And as usual, what these people decided to do is, yeah, I got what your issue was, but I'm going to pretend like it doesn't exist for me. And their thing is, I'm just going to evade it and hope you leave it alone. That's not something you do to me, because I take it as a form of disrespect. When people do that to you, they do it for two reasons, and I want you to see why this goes into the hearing and listening. Either they want you to go away for good because they're tired of dealing with you, and this can be in any situational thing on a given day. When somebody continues to disregard, dismiss, and evade you, they do so because they have no respect for you. And it's unlike me to have anxiety attacks over something like that. I'm talking in circles because right now I can't really say what the situation is. But if you're on that live, Mr. Burns agreed with me. He knows what it is because I've complained about it a lot. And it's not like I want to complain. First reason, they want you gone. If they can't get rid of you, you move to the second one. They want you to fall in line and pretend like it's not that big of a deal. Some people aren't easy to get rid of, and when you're not easy to get rid of, people's thing is, I can not address an issue and pretend like it's going to go away. See, my thing about handling that is I'm not going to go off. I'm not going to call you out of your name. I'm not going to do any of that. What I am going to do is build my skills and prep for an exit. This message is to y'all because I care about my subs. I don't have to know you well enough to care for your well-being and want the best for you. When you convey things to people because they make you uncomfortable, because it's denigrating to your self-actualization, that's your talents and skills, when it's disrespectful to you, and they do the complete opposite, the listening portion where they didn't listen and you see no tangibles, if you cannot leave right away, do like me and make a plan to leave. A person who hears but cannot listen does not regard you. And they're telling you by ignoring you, I blatantly disregard you because I can. So my response to this situation is then I'm going to build my skills and get away from you because I can. It's a vulnerable position for me to say I had an anxiety attack and it wasn't worth it to me. I've calmed down now. But you get this sense of dread. I didn't want to be this way. But the good news is I'm in a position in 2025 that by the end of the year, I can finally have built my skills and do my best to exit this situation. Don't force people to like you. I don't. I'm just the type of person that whether I like or dislike you, I can't walk away and have a blatant disregard for you because you don't act the way I think you should act or you aren't the way I think you should be. People will be evasive and dismissive because they think that by acting this way, it's going to get them the reaction that they want. The light bulb has to be on for y'all in 2025. Between banning certain things in the United States now, between the fact that stuff is too high, this is now the year and the time when you have to know who's for you or not for you. And when you remain in situations, you need to remain knowing that the person who you know for a fact doesn't like you or the people, you have to own it. Even if you don't say it out loud, you have to own that you know they don't want you around and that they're always going to do something to sabotage you. Be it taking things away from you or finding a way to make you go away or hoping you just go away in peace. Say less. The message on my end, I got it. I absolutely got it. But I want you all to get it. Don't get to the point like me where you can't lie down because you're sitting 1 minute enjoying yourself and next minute feel like you're having a heart attack. No person and no situation is worth that. Build your skills and get away. Some things you just can't remedy. And something, everywhere you go, people are going to get on your nerves and someone's going to try to get rid of you. So I already know someone's going to give me that backlash. You are 100% correct. I've been in those situations. I thought most of them were comical and just kept it moving. When it gets too unbearable, you are not weak for walking away. I don't care what the situation is. You can lose stuff, you can lose people. Every day that you breathe, God loves you. Know that. This other riffraff, don't let it be your thing. This is the year that people who are not on board and do not want to work with you collaboratively and want to act like children, they can be gone. Rid yourself of people who hear but do not listen.